Hey guys, welcome back to Searching for Scary. I will try and make this quick and, short and sweet and whatnot. So, this week is back to normal. I have a book, comic book, and a movie recommendation for you. I know it's 4th of July weekend, and a lot of you guys will probably be hanging out with family or barbecuing or whatever. But if you're up late at night, or maybe with your family or whatever, you're trying to get something scary on, or people just love horror stuff. I know I have a couple cousins that do. I'm going to give you some picks here. So, let's get right into it. First one is the book, and this is really in honor of the government kind of coming clean with what they know about UFOs. So I've never really been scared of UFOs. I think that they're interesting, but it's, to me, kind of hard to get into books that are supposed to be like scary about UFOs. Only because like if they wanted to do something to us, they would. You know what I mean? Like there's no point in this. It's like me with an ant. Like if I want to kill an ant, I'll do it. Otherwise, I'm gonna just leave it alone. So I kind of get the same feeling with aliens. But that being said, this book is really, really good. It is classified as like a horror / sci-fi book. I can tell you, I don't know how scared you're gonna get by this, unless you're like really paranoid about aliens already. But it is a really good read, and it takes aliens in a little bit of a different direction than what you're used to if you've been reading, stuff like the movie Alien, or the comic book, or the books from that movie, or even like the X-Files. It's a little bit of a different like direction. And the author, Whitley Strieber, apparently he's like pretty renowned on UFO information, and he actually puts in a lot of detail with this book and kind of reasoning as to why aliens would even like interfere with humans. And he also kind of elaborates on how it wouldn't necessarily be like malicious. They wouldn't always come to, the Earth just to kill people or just like take resources. There are other reasons to do it. They are sort of resources, but read the book, kind of find out. It's not like a quick read. It's probably closer to like 300 pages, but it's like $5, I think, on Amazon or eBay or something like that. So you can get it relatively cheap. It's worth a read, especially if you're just kind of like interested in aliens, or maybe you have been hearing a lot about aliens and you've never really read too much about them. Just watching YouTube videos on them. It's a really good book to start off with, and it gives you like a good foundation on just alien information that you'd want to know, assuming you want to keep digging or kind of following down that rabbit hole. But that's it for the book. Second is comic. This is Afterlife with Archie. So I actually read this comic book about 5 or 6 years ago now. Unfortunately, I kind of sold them off, and I've been selling them off just a little at a time. I think it was like a 12-issue run. It wasn't a very long book, but we just received word that they are going to be turning this into a Netflix adaptation, which should be really good. And if you're like me, you've never really been interested in Archie, you've probably seen the books, like TV Digest with Archie, a million times when you go to the grocery store, and you just never even gave it a second glance. I picked this up initially because of the cover, and I really thought, okay, I'm going to give this a try, and if I read it and it sucks, I'm not picking it up again. But I picked it up. It's really, really good. And I'm someone who has no idea who Archie is or what the background is. I know that Riverdale is a TV show. I've never seen it. But this comic was really good. As you can tell, it is about zombies. And I don't want to give away too much, but one of the main, if you're familiar with Archie or any of those characters, one of the main characters is Jughead. He actually has a dog that gets killed, and it gets kind of Pet Cemetery-ish because he's trying to bring the dog back to life. The dog, of course, comes back as a zombie. It bites Jughead, and then from there, he kind of starts passing it along. And before you know it, the entire city of Riverdale has been overrun with zombies. And it doesn't really show how far it gets, but what it does do is it focuses again, obviously, more with Archie and like the main characters and how they're trying to survive. And it does go sort of like in a Walking Dead kind of path where they escape and they're living in the woods and they're trying to like just kind of survive, hoping that somebody's coming to save them. And that's really just the first comic, maybe like the first two. And so as you keep going into this, obviously it gets deeper and deeper, and it gets really good. Obviously there's a lot of like personal tension and struggles, and they bring up stuff in this comic that they start kind of arguing about. And me, as somebody who has never really read Archie, at first I was like, okay, I'm not familiar with this particular, scenario, whatever they're talking about. But you get informed pretty quickly. You don't have to have any background with Archie to understand this book, and it's really a standalone story. And the fact that it's coming to Netflix means two things. So one, the story was good enough to where somebody wanted to adapt it and pay the rights to do it. But secondly, the comic book itself is going to go up in value. So a lot of these are like $5, $8, maybe like $10 with shipping. If you buy it off of like eBay, and if you can find it somewhere else, like at a Half Price Books or something, it's going to be even cheaper. It's going to be like $3. But if you buy it now, like I said, just for the read alone, it's definitely worth it. Even if you do end up paying like $8 or $10, but then just hold on to it. Keep good, keep it in good condition. Keep it stored somewhere. And when the movie comes out, assuming it's a hit, this thing could be worth $50+ And I tell you that because Sabrina was a comic book first before it went to Netflix, and I had those books. I bought them again for $3 or $4, and when the show came out, those books, individual books, were selling for with a minimum of $10, and some of the books I ended up selling for like $40 to $50 a piece. And Afterlife with Archie is better than Sabrina. So if you like that Netflix series, Sabrina, it stemmed from the comic book, and it was just recently aired, maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. This is going to be even better, and the comic's probably going to be worth even more because they're a little bit more rare. Even when they first came out, it was hard to get your hands on these because everybody wanted the covers. So give it a look, especially for the price. You really can't go wrong with it. Last one here is the movie, and this is Saint Maude. If you have Shudder, you've probably seen this title pop up somewhere, and I don't know how many places are really showing Saint Maude. I know it's Shudder and like Epics, and I think that's about it. But if you have Shudder, you've probably seen the title, go watch it. If you don't have Shudder, they give you a free week to try it out. And even if you maybe have already used that up, you've already used it in the past, it's like $5 a month. So, I mean, just get it for 1 month if you just want to watch this, and then, you can let it go. But Saint Maude, if you are a fan of guys like M. Night Shyamalan, or movies like Hereditary, and just kind of like these slow burns with maybe a twist at the end, but maybe just kind of like a really strong conclusion to a movie, something that makes you kind of like, it makes the movie stick with you, you're gonna like this movie. So a quick rundown on this. Basically, this woman that you're seeing levitating here, if you're looking at the screen, she is like a hospice worker. And it doesn't say what she did, but she did something to lose the job before. And they don't really elaborate on that, but she runs into friends like throughout the movie that kind of bring it up, like, hey, are you okay? You know what happened? And they show like a clip of this person dying with her, and it's just kind of like a bloody clip, but they don't say like what she did specifically to cause it. So she gets let go from her job, and then she gets this other job with a new patient who's obviously dying, and she is like a singer. I'm sorry, not a singer, a dancer, a ballet dancer who was like really famous and had a lot of money, and now she's obviously dying and she's sick. And even as she's sick, though, she's trying to like have these parties and drink and smoke, and the hospice nurse, Maude in this case, she's trying to tell her, like, you shouldn't be doing those things. It's not really helping you. And not just for health reasons, but Maude starts, like, inserting her own, like, religious beliefs into this. And she's just like, and that's why it's called Saint Maude. She's like, you shouldn't do this. Like, the Lord doesn't want you to do this. God doesn't, doesn't reward this kind of behavior, that kind of stuff. And so this whole movie, you're like, you're not really scared, but you're thinking, like, wow, she's kind of weird, like a little off. Because these are things, especially like as an employee, you wouldn't tell your employer this. And then you, like I said, throughout the movie, you find out certain things about her. Like, one, it seems like she's not really even licensed to like practice nursing anymore. And then two, she never told this new patient about what happened previously. And the patient is like, seems like it's more like a private kind of thing. Like they don't have she does have like a company she works through, but it's obviously at home care, so there's not like a manager with her or anything like that. So she's kind of keeping everything like hush hush. And you're thinking like, okay, what did she do? What led up to that scene that we saw earlier? Is she kind of a psycho? Like, is she this weird like religious person? Is she just a zealot? Like, what's going on? And so the whole movie, it's kind of like a creepy, eerie feel to it, and you're just like uncomfortable because it's this like, okay, like you're a weird chick. Like, why are you bringing this up to her? Why are you telling her all these things? And there's at one point where the person she's caring for is, I'm assuming a lesbian or like bisexual, one of the two. But she has a woman who's coming over and like partying and stuff like that. And one morning, her girlfriend wakes up and Maude is telling her like, "Don't come back. You don't need to be coming back. Like, this isn't the way of the Lord." And it's just really weird. And you're just like, the whole movie, and I can't emphasize this enough. You're just like, wow, she's really like overstepping her boundaries, and she's kind of seeing herself as this like savior of her patient, like of the patient's soul. And so she's taking this to like a really religious level where everybody around her is just like, yeah, okay, you're weird, like, but we're gonna be okay with you, I guess. I don't want to ruin it, so I don't want to give any info about like the ending necessarily, because that's really where everything is just leading up to. Like I said, I wouldn't consider it like a slow burn, because it's a good watch the whole way through. You're not just sitting there like, okay, hurry up and show me the ending. But it's, if you watch this movie and you've seen it once, it's kind of hard to go back and watch it like, several times, because you already know how it's going to end. It's one of those kind of movies. I will tell you, obviously something weird is happening here, because Maude, I'm going to spoil this right now, Maude is the one levitating in that picture you're looking at. So take that for what you will. I don't want to give you too much detail about that. Definitely watch the movie. Like I said, you could probably watch it for free if you have that free trial of Shudder, or if you already have Shudder. Obviously the movie's free. But if you don't have that, you can also get an Epix free trial through Amazon, I think, through Amazon Prime. And if you don't, if you were to use that free trial up as well, Epix is the same price. I think they're like $4 or $5. So there's a lot of other good stuff on there. So for that price, I can promise you're not going to be disappointed. Just for the 1 month, grab it, get it. It's cheaper than renting any movie like VOD. So hopefully you guys found something here that you want to watch or read this coming weekend, and maybe share with some people. Please like and subscribe. Comment below if there's any movies, books, comic books you've seen, you've read that you think need some more. It's more of a crowd behind it if it's just not getting the word out. But thank you again for your support. Have a great day and keep it scary.